Welcome to Edge of the Rabbit Hole. We have a fantastic episode up for you tonight. Hollywood producer Christopher Peters has returned to talk more about his extraterrestrial experiences. Coming up next. Welcome back, everybody, to Edge of the Rabbit Hole. I'm author and ghost historian Mike Ricksecker. With me, as always, is Vanessa Hogel, my co-hostess. Down in the chat room, our chat shenanigator, Shauna, who may be in and out. She hasn't been feeling well for the past several days, so Donna Gorton will be helping her out this evening. We have a great show for you on tap tonight. Hollywood producer Christopher Peters has returned to talk more about his extraterrestrial experiences. Had a great episode last time, even amidst all the technical difficulties in that show, which there were many. We got to hear some really, really fantastic details about his experiences. And there's already, right off the bat, $10 super chat from Tom McNicholas. He says, "Since I won in the casino in Iowa."
Listen.
Thank you very much, Tom. Appreciate that. So, Christopher, so just to kind of briefly recap the audience and anybody that is new to the show, kind of briefly, kind of maybe in a bit of a nutshell, just recap everybody on your experiences. And I know Vanessa and I had a lot of questions. We just pretty much ran out of time last time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you guys for having me back. Again, it's really wonderful to be here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It was really, I had a great time last time. So basically, 2 years, it's going on about 2 years now. About in September, a couple years ago, I had a daylight sighting at my house during the day, clear skies. I saw a craft over my house that was, a couple hundred feet in the air, kind of lit up golden. I watched it for 30 minutes, and then what basically happened is, like, the following night, another craft came and did, strobing lights, and that basically turned into every single day and night for 7 months, literally on cue. These craft would come over and a couple hundred feet above the house and signal me, and that evolved into orbs flying all over my head and shooting stars the size of baseballs 2 feet over my head, from nowhere, flying in front of my face. And then as time progressed, that first year, then it moved into the house, and I started having orbs flying everywhere and these mist beams, which were like spirit and also being sort of, extraterrestrial, beams in mist form in the house, and different colored energy lights, and then almost at the year mark, I sort of discovered this healing thing that they gave me, where I basically was seeing electricity coming off my fingers one day on the treadmill, and I filmed it on my infrared camera and saw it, and so it just basically was this thing that started and has continued and has progressed. It's been going on for now 2 years, and now it's even evolving more, and so much now of it now is inside the house. Although whenever I step outside, there is always, I'm telling you, every night, every day, craft, many different types of craft over the house all the time. It's just crazy. I honest to God, through this whole last 2 years, I have had this recurring theme in my head, how can this be happening so much? It's got to be some sort of and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I literally have said, oh, this guy has to be a government weird, experimental thing, because so much is happening all the time and it never stops. And it's turned into kind of like a family, sort of I'm literally in this relationship now with these beings. So it's really crazy. And I've never been this kind of person. I'm 51 years old almost now. And for 49 years of my life, it was never any of that. I was never. So yeah, that's where we're at. And that's where we are now.
Now, let me ask you real quick before we get into that more. We know that this has been going on for 2 years. We know your involvement in it, but I have to ask you, do you feel that this is a personal involvement or insinuation into your life based on your ability to see them and acknowledge them? Or could it be regional based on the area that you're in?
I think there's two things going on, and what I didn't talk about in the last show is something that I'll talk about now. Okay, so yeah, it is very personal to me. That's one thing. So yes, I literally am physically with them every night in the house. I mean, they're here all day long, but at night is when literally we get together at night and they are there. I mean, I can go into later on in the show what happened, but so there's a real personal thing that's going on with me where there's a real message and there is a real mission that I now have been sort of like is now in my life in a real way, and very specific relationship and the name of one being Ethos, who is apparently my brother. I know how crazy this sounds, but yeah, it's very specific to me, that aspect of it. But what also I didn't tell you about is this other thing that kind of lends to what you just said in terms of regional. When this started 2 years ago, along with the very specific UFO contact, extraterrestrial contact, what also they made me aware of is when this started about 2 years ago, all of a sudden I started seeing at dusk military jets flying over our area, literally a few hundred feet over our house, every 5 minutes from dusk till dawn. And I'm not BSing you. Every 5 minutes, another military jet would fly over, and I started noticing, and this is all happening in concert with this other thing that was going on. And so when this all started, I started to notice these jets. And the weird thing is, there's planes flying all the time, but the weird thing about these jets is they would fly over the house, and we have this wash, like a public city wash that the public can't go to, which is across the street from our house, which our neighbor, and then behind them is this wash. These jets would literally stop in midair and hover and slowly low kind of like descend. And it was like dark, so it was hard to see, but they would literally be stopped. So I kind of like made a mental note of that as this other thing was going on. And then the deeper that I got into this other stuff, the more days passed, the more that I saw these military jets. And then it kind of dawned on me, wait a minute, every 5 or 10 minutes, there's another military jet. What is going on? And then one day, a couple weeks into this, 2 years ago when it all started, one day, it's about 6:30 at night, I'm in my driveway, I'm doing my thing with Ethos and being family, and I keep seeing these jets flying over. And then one day, so that night I'm seeing these jets fly over, and then I see, now if you've ever seen videos of Vietnam with military helicopters landing in like a rice paddy field, they'll throw a smoke flare down where to land, and all the smoke will billow out, and the copter will land in this sort of place where the flare is gone. So this one night, I'm seeing these jets fly over, and then all of a sudden, where this wash is, where the public can't go to, I see this huge billowing of what looks like flare smoke. And these jets are slowly descending into this wash, and then upcoming from maybe 5 minutes past, the jet comes back up, and then what comes out also are these other craft that are not planes, that are not helicopters, that are not the Bean family craft that I know, but they look like buoys in the ocean. But they almost look like buoys in the ocean. They're red and they're golden, and these things would literally rise up with these planes and fly off into the sky. I have video of it. So I made a mental note of this. And so during these 2 years, I'm having all of this extraterrestrial relationship experience video going on, but I'm also videotaping military jets and other kind of back-engineered UFO craft that are military. And so as I got deeper into this story with Ethos and Bean family, there are other things that I started noticing. And then they started to tell me really what was going on. And I said, look, something clearly is going on here that's military. And that's scaring me more than this stuff. And I said, what is going on? And they said, you don't really want to know. And I said, I don't want to know, because why? Because they said, because it'll terrify you. And I said, okay. I said, let me ask you this question, because their message is about universal peace, healing, and the protection and care of all life. And I said to them, okay, look, at the end of the day, when this is all said and done, are we going to, as a humanity, with you, make it through whatever we have to go through, stay intact as a culture, and be able to find a place of peace for all life? Yes. The answer is yes. Do I need to be scared about or worried about what these people are doing? No, you do not. But they kept telling me, you don't really want to know, because it will scare you and it'll throw you off your path. But I can tell you that everybody's going to be okay. We're gonna be able to keep everything as is, meaning live as we are. But there is a real thing going on. So as the time progressed, these military jets have not stopped. I have many hours of video of them. I have many hours of video of them with craft, with them descending and then coming up with other kinds of craft. Then Ethos and Bean family made me aware of the night sky. And now normally when you look at the night sky, you see stars. And that's what I've normally seen my whole life. Now, when this started in the first year, Ethos and Bean family made me aware that the night sky, all throughout the night sky, in every place where you guys are, where we are, there are things that look like stars, but they're not. They're small little UFOs. I know this sounds crazy, but they have a little light on the front of them that twinkles, that looks like a little night light, like a star. But they're little UFO craft littered throughout the night sky, mimicking the stars in the sky. There are real stars, but they are not them. Now, I was blown away, because when I look at the night sky, these craft that look like stars that sit in the night sky, you would look at the night sky and think, oh, those are stars thousands of miles away. When I look at them, they look 20 or 30 feet above my head. That is something that they have changed in me. So to make my point even more, and I know what I'm talking about, I know how crazy this sounds, but I'm telling you, throughout our sky in the entire world are all of these craft. Now, I asked Ethos and family, I said, if you're working for like the good guys, what is this? They said, look, we've given these craft to the military. We're working with them, but we're not really on their side. But what they explained it to me is keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Mm-hmm. So they've given them these craft. I have videos of all these back-engineered, they look like buoys flying through the sky. There are red ones on their own. There are these two Christmas tree-looking ones that are side by side. But now, let me make this point. Let me just say one last thing.
Okay, because I do want to ask you something.
And then I'll stop. So I know how crazy the story sounds, but literally these stars that are craft, that are little miniature UFOs with a light on them that mimic a star, they're sitting all throughout the night sky everywhere. And there's like ones like in Orion's belt, there's like single ones, double ones, triangle ones. And so I brought my friend Joe over one day. Joe is probably in his late 70s, was a Harvard professor, not a UFO guy, not a paranormal guy, just a kind of salt of the earth guy. And I said, Joe, come here, friend. I want to show you something. So I gave him the infrared camera. And he sees all these orbs flying over my head everywhere. He's like, what is that? And I said, look at the star right there. Does that look like a star? He's like, yeah, it looks like it's 1,000 miles away. It's like a normal night sky. I said, no, Joe, those are 100, 200 feet above our head. Those are little miniature UFOs mimicking a star. And he looked at me. He's like, you've lost your mind, son. And I said, okay, come with me. So I put him in my car. Now, we have a house that's at the bottom of the valley, sort of near Malibu. There's a place called Mulholland Highway, where if you drive up Mulholland Highway, it sits maybe about 1,000 feet, 500 feet above the valley. So I took Joe at night, I took him up to Mulholland Highway at the top of Mulholland that overlooks where our house is, that overlooks the valley floor, and guess what Joe saw? Joe saw exactly what I told him he would see, which is a bunch of craft in the sky below us, over the city, mimicking stars. And as we sat on the side of the hill, 3 of these star craft slowly were coming from the valley below, slowly up towards us, and then slowly rose above us and over our heads. And he sat there with his jaw hit the damn ground, and I said, there you go, my friend, bingo. I can't explain why I can see them like that. I can't explain the full picture, but he saw exactly my point. So I'm going to do a video of exactly that, replicating that with this new camera to show everybody, but it's very tied into chemtrails. It's very tied into climate change. It's very tied into them somehow, the military, replicating the night sky right in front of our face over time, so we don't see the change. And I don't know why, but anyways, that's what my little story for that.
Okay, all right. Now you had said, excuse me, that they had made some sort of change in you so that you are able to see these things this way, and other people are not able to for whatever reason. But apparently he can see them from above like that. So what was this change that they made in you where you could see this?
I don't know. I have assumptions about what happened. When this started a couple years ago, I've gone through, I think, what so many things close up with them, which we can talk about later. But I think basically what happened was being exposed to them, being so close to them, and all the things that they share with you, the energy exchange, being near them. There's a shift in your consciousness, but also I have never had a surgery in my life, ever. I now have triangle scars on each shoulder. I have a scar with suture marks that goes from my belly button between my chest all the way up to my neck. I have 2 scars on each pec with these long lines and a box at the end, a perfect box on the end of the lines, and then a triangle beneath the box on each pec. So what I think has happened, and I've had scoop marks. I wake up every couple of mornings, like I have 2 fresh scoop marks on each shin. I've had perfect puncture wounds and a perfect circle within circles on each ankle. This happens every couple days. So what I think has happened over the last couple of years is, I think by being around them, by getting downloads, by energy exchange, by being in their physical presence, there's a shift that happens consciously that affects also your ability somehow to see, because I can see ghosts and spirit now. I can see them in their energy form. I can see beyond full spectrum. I can see beyond what my cameras can see. But also, I think that they've also put things inside of my body. I couldn't tell you that for a fact, but I've never had these scars prior to, before that. Now I have these scars. I went to, like my skin, I have all these skin conditions now. I've never had a skin condition in my life. I've never been sick. Now I have this skin condition on my face where every 2 days my chin is caked in dry, my chin is caked in dry skin, caked, and you scrape it off and it comes back every 2 days. I went to go see a specialist with my mom in Beverly Hills a couple of weeks ago, and the guy's like, we don't know how this starts. maybe they say it's too much yeast in the body, and and he gave me all that shampoo, different stuff. Oh, this should fix it. Nothing fixes it. I have all these physical changes that have happened since this time. So I think it's a combination of conscious. Their technology is the technology of consciousness, and all of that implies. I'm not an expert in any way, shape, or form, so I think definitely they change my consciousness. They change things physically about me. When I look at the night sky, everything is disproportioned. I see the stars or these craft 20, 30 feet above my head. When I look at a plane, it looks like a miniature thing flying through the sky. Everything looks out of whack in a weird kind of way. I don't know how to describe it.
I think, and I'm just going to dabble here for a second, but it's kind of like, back when they were doing testing with psychedelics, with those type of drugs, LSD or PCP or anything like that, and it opens up that consciousness. I think it's the same with the situation that you're dealing with, and the same with someone, like myself who sees dead people all the time. Once you're exposed to it,
right,
and you've accepted it for what it is,
right,
that door either slowly starts to open or it kicks wide open, and
that's correct,
changes your perception. And it isn't
totally
something that you choose. It's just something that is.
Yeah, and the more that you, I'm literally physically with them every night. I mean, they're in the house all day long. They're outside flying in crafts, but I'm literally physically with them every night. I mean, literally, we sit on the couch every night. And I turn the lights off. My wife is sleeping next to me. The cat is sleeping on my feet. And I say, okay, energy being, or I say, okay, family, time to send and receive love. It's just sort of this thing that I say. And the orbs are right there. Their bubbling energy is right there. I put my hands out, I'm touching the orb. Literally, like I put my hands out, they fly into my hand, and they're like little orbs, but they can get big and small. And like I do this thing where I stretch them, like I put one finger on one end and one finger on the other, and I literally stretch the orb to a bigger size. I bring them down to my face, and I look through them to see what I see. And I see literally, like, you'll see, like, when you look through the orb, you stretch them, they're sticky. They have a sticky and a static electricity feeling to them. I stretch them, I look through them because they're see-through, and they have all this, like, electricity energy inside of them. But when I look through them, it's a tunnel of orbs stretching across my living room, where, like there are like 1,000 orbs connected to that orb, or all the way in this tunnel. And then when I look through them, I see this tunnel, and then all of a sudden this like red orb at the other end of the house appears and travels down this tunnel and comes out of the orb that I'm stretching right in front of my face. And like, so like I'm doing that with them. I'm putting my hand out to like the bubbling energy, which is them as well. And like, they'll like kind of twist and turn. It's like, you ever see that movie, not The Deep, The Abyss?
Yeah.
If you see The Abyss, that's exactly what they look like in one form. When that water is like alive, that's a great way to describe what they look like. So I'm doing that, I'm putting my hands together every night in this thing that we do, and like this black energy, or this orb appears in my hand, and black energy comes out of the orb, and it fills up my cupped hands, and this black energy then becomes like almost like a screen on the open part of my cupped hands, and then they start doing these hollow, and this is really interesting. I thought that I was the only one having this experience, because this started maybe a couple months ago. So like we'll do this thing at night where I have my hands together, this black orb will appear in my hand, and then it'll start bleeding this black alive energy that's got like silver sparkles in it. And my hands are like cupped, so there's like a little hollow part to my hand. So this black energy, which is like velvety and sticky, will fill my hands, fill my arms, and it'll fill my cupped hand, so it's like filled with this energy. And then this blue orb will come behind my hand and send this energy and start projecting holographic images in my cupped hand. So they'll show me like their faces, they'll show me like places, they'll show me like craft, they'll show me all this in my cupped hand. And so 2 days ago, I'm listening to Coast to Coast, and I'm just kind of mellowing out at the end of the day. And Tom DeLonge is on Coast to Coast, and he's being interviewed. And he starts talking about, you know, To the Stars Academy, and they're talking about their research. And he's like, you know, he's very kind of an angry dude, and he kind of has this whole like violent war thing, like where he wants to kill them. And he has this whole thing that's sort of where they're coming from. So he's like going, you know, the whole program is about how there's different extraterrestrial life here on Earth, and they now know. And so he starts telling the story, like, he goes, yeah, he goes, and there's these orbs, and they're doing some really crazy thing. He goes, I have this one friend who had cancer, and he's like, this happened just like 2 weeks ago. He's got all these orbs appearing in his yard, in his house. And this one orb is like, it cures his cancer. He's like, he's with it at night, and he's like, this orb starts projecting holographic images in the palms of his hand. And I hear this, and I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, that's my story. I thought I didn't, it was great. It was great for me because I was like, okay. But this Tom DeLonge guy says, you know, this guy is saying, this guy gets his cancer cured. He's like, you know, he thinks they're angels, and like Tom DeLonge is going like, so that's happening. And then on the other end of the earth, you've got these orbs doing the same thing who are like really hurting people. So, and the crazy thing with me is that whole angel thing is also a big part of this whole story. So I don't know why I told you that story, other than it really confirmed what's going on at night for me in that way. But yeah, I think being around them physically changes you in all ways. And when you, like what you're saying about consciousness, when you start to, because when people think about consciousness, they think about a word, they think about meditation. Consciousness is actually a physical state. It's the actual true natural world of all things. It's actually like God. It's actually this physical material world, the spirit and them and everything really is. This physical reality we're in is really 1%. So the consciousness is really a limiting word, but that state that they sort of introduce you to, it just expands you. And once you're in that place, that door swings wide open. There's so much that is there to learn in terms of, you know, physically changing things with thought and energy, interacting with spirit, them, and beyond, you know?
Yeah, last time you were on, you had mentioned that through you, they were doing things to help heal people. And so what I'm wondering, through these different marks that you're finding on your body, you know, do you think that it's what they're putting inside you that's helping you to heal people, or is it more of an energy transfer from them that's helping you to heal people?
Yeah, I'm not the healer, they are, but this energy is really something also called reconnective healing. I told you, I think, a story about this guy, Dr. Eric Pearl, who's like maybe one of the most successful chiropractors for 30 years, goes to bed one night, hears somebody in his house, walks around, nobody's there, lights are turning on, goes into his practice the next day as a chiropractor, and he starts working on people, and over the next 50 patients, they're calling him, each patient, saying, I got cured from cancer, I got cured from blindness, I got this, I got that, and he discovers this energy, this reconnective healing energy. And what was funny is when I discovered this about myself, I knew nothing about Dr. Eric Pearl or reconnective healing. And I was writing in my journal the exact way my hands felt, the exact way people were feeling, like they were feeling heat through their body, and they were seeing lights in their head. They were feeling people touching them when I would do healing, like work on them, and they were smelling scents, and they were seeing like angels in their head. And this guy, Dr. Eric Pearl, writes this book, Reconnective Healing, and everything that I have in my journal that I never shared with him is in his book. And everything that I'm doing and the way the energy is affecting people, the way it feels on my hands in the air, is in his book. So this guy calls it reconnective healing. I call it energy warming. They are the healers. They are the healers. This energy is from them. So I think when you start to interact with the spirit world, or you start to interact with them, they're opening you up to the world of really the true natural world, which is, this world of consciousness, this world of energy, which is really everything. And is really God, is really, in a non-religious way, I'm saying that, is really love, compassion, is really infinite possibility. And so I guess when you get to know them, when you're willing enough to take that adventure, whether it's with spirit or with them, there are no limitations. And this energy, I couldn't tell you what exactly it is or how it works, but I can tell you that it's real, and that I have this ability now to feel the energy. And when I'm doing healing sessions with people, they're having things happen. People I went to go see I have this very great Chinese medicine doctor who's been my mom's friend for 30 years. He's a really established dude, and he's not into any of this stuff, but he's open. He's an open dude. And so I went to go do one on him the other day, and he's like, wow, Christopher, I can tell you, I've been doing Chinese medicine for, many, many years. I've worked, quote unquote, a lot of healers, but nobody's got anything on this. I've never felt anything like this in my life. He goes, you can do a lot of good with that. And I'm like, it's not me, it's them, but it's also people who do reconnective healing. It's a real thing. So yeah, there it is,
I have to ask you something you and Mike were talking about before we went live. You mentioned something about orbs that were full of color. And before you say anything, I wish I still had this original picture. I wish I still had access to my MySpace, because it's on there. And I just have a copy of it. But I was at a place called the Ritz Theater here in Oklahoma. And I took a picture. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I took a picture in a darkened room, no flash, no nothing. Okay. And on this picture, there is one very, very large, like basketball size orb, and then a bunch of very small ones that almost had for lack of a better way of putting it, a little sperm look to them, as if they were floating down. And then one that was on the ground in what I called the Rat Fire King, just in the way that he was. When I went in to enlarge this picture, each one of those was a just cacophony of color. Right. Every single color you could imagine was inside these little sperm looking orbs, the huge one, and then the thing that looked like a rat on fire, all different colors. In the big one that was basketball size, there was a person, a very small, fully formed, very strange looking little person. Have you ever come across anything like that? Full body.
Every night. Yeah, every night. So, yeah, absolutely. That's them. That's them 100%. So, you have in my house, as you guys have discovered many, many times too, you have your normal, gray orbs that are probably spirit, which basically they're orbs, they look gray. And then you have, maybe a darker color orb. And then you have your super white orbs. Those are all here too. But then them, the Arcturian family, as I'm calling them, they look like they're see-through. They can be basketball size. They can be small. And inside, their shell, let's say their shell of the orb looks like layers of tiny lines, one after the other, side by side. And then inside is like a blue heart of color, and then they have every color of the rainbow looks like electricity coming off of that blue color center. and when they fly around, it looks like you know those balls when you put your hand on those electricity balls, you put your finger on them, and then the bolt of lightning would touch your finger. You know those toys that people have?
Yeah.
That's exactly what they look like on the inside. So getting back to what you just said in terms of the face, so when I'm at night with them and we're doing my palms together and we're sending love and receiving love and they're doing all the black color mist and filling my hand up so they can project images, also what happens is through that black orb, other orbs will come, and these orbs have like a shocking technicolor blue, like almost like a, you know, like a black light painting. You know, the colors how on black light paintings, how they pop. That is kind of what that is what this color looks like. So these orbs will come through. So my hands are there, you know, the black orb is there, and doing all the 3D, and then this other orb will come through, and one after the next, these orbs will come through with this black light blue color. And inside of them will be a very weird, scary, strange, different type of face. They're not scary, but the faces can be weird. And so what's so crazy is this little teeny orb will come through my palms. I'm sitting there in the dark. I'm looking at my hands. I'm like, oh my God, that's a face in the orb. And then the orb will slowly come out of the other orb, the black orb in my palm, slowly drift up above my hand at my fingertips, sit there at my fingertips. I'm looking at this face. I'm like, oh my God, that's you. Hi, Bean family. And then it'll slowly drift up to my ceiling. And as it gets to the ceiling, it expands to a full face that's the size of a normal or bigger person. And so, yeah, 100%. And inside of them bodies, the whole gamut. Yeah. It's crazy. It's so crazy.
I thought I was weird, so.
No, it's just so bizarre. But you know what's even weirder is, and I'm kind of at a new normal now, and it's just I'm kind of like used to it. I never not go, oh my God, this is the most fabulous, crazy moment of my life. But I'm also used to it. Isn't that weird?
No. I totally get it.
Yeah, maybe you just feel more natural around it. Could very well be.
Yeah, totally.
Hey, Christopher, we have a couple people down in the chat room with the same question, or they're trying to do the same thing at least. So Sean Gilmore, Tom McNicholas, I think a couple others. We're wondering if you have your videos anywhere online somewhere, or is that coming out in the future?
No, I do. The stuff that I'm telling you about now inside of the house, I haven't filmed that part so much yet because I've tried to with my other cameras and they don't see them as well as the other videos. But I do have about 123 videos. It's called the YouTube channel. Oh my God, I think it's called. Okay, hold on a second. I always forget about this. I always get it confused. I think it's called Alien. Wait. I think it's called U.S. Government. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. U.S. Government. U.S. Government Alien UFO. Oh shoot. You know what? Let me think about that as we're talking. I can't believe I forget my own YouTube channel. But yes, I have about 123 videos. But I'm going to get a new camera. I'm going to get the FLIR camera to film them in the house, and I'm also going to try to do something tonight to try to film the bubbling energy and stuff. But yeah.
Okay, very
sorry
cool.
Guys, sorry about that with the YouTube channel.
You're fine. And
I can find it.
Yeah, and Robert Hanna was wondering. Robert was wondering if these are actual extraterrestrials or if they're interdimensional beings, or maybe they're both. I mean.
Okay. Yeah. Let me answer that question, but before I do, let me just say also, if you guys in the audience want to Google Jeff Buckley and UFOs, I did a video with playing Jeff Buckley's music where I'm filming a UFO and orbs and a triangle in the sky, and so you can find my YouTube channel that way. Getting to the question, the question is, are they extraterrestrial or interdimensional?
Right.
There is, the way that ESIS has explained it to me is there's no difference, that there's no separation, that everyone is all here at the same time. This whole idea of they come from other places and need portals is bullshit. This is what he tells me, that it does happen, but it's not necessary. That we are all in one space. It's more about perception than it is about covering ground to get someplace, if that makes any sense.
It does.
That makes sense.
Christopher,
Yeah.
my goodness, I'm looking at that video. Holy moly. Wow.
Are you looking at the Jeff Buckley one?
I am. My stars, huh?
Thank you.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff.
I'll definitely be checking that out after
people-
the show.
Yeah, tell people my YouTube channel because I'm forgetting it. Sorry,
Okay,
I'm
well,
getting old.
this is on the Jeff Buckley one. Alien U.S. government UFO is what it is, y'all. I believe that's yours. Alien
Correct.
is a capital A, then capital U.S., capital G in government, and then capital UFO. And I do love the way that you change the tone, the colors of the video so that things would show up a little bit better. But in this particular video, these spacecrafts start out in one formation, and then you're actually watching them change formation and almost taking on an astrological sign, which is very interesting. This is amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're very well.
Yeah,
I just popped it, and I'm going to subscribe. Okay.
Cool. Oh,
Yep.
yay.
I'll subscribe as well.
Thank you, guys. Yeah. It's really crazy because I swear to you, my friends talking to you now, and my friends in the audience, I swear to God to you guys, I am trying so hard every second, questioning my own reality, questioning my own, what am I seeing? What am I looking at? But there is something very real happening with this government thing, with the craft in the sky, with the mimicking the stars, and there's something obviously very real happening with the other stuff. But yeah, it's really bizarre. I mean, I was looking at the moon the other night, and this was so weird. It was a cloudy sky. It was raining, and it was a full moon. And the entire night sky was covered in clouds. But as the clouds passed the moon, everything else stayed cloudy except this hole would appear. Clouds would not. Basically, what I'm saying is the clouds would not be allowed to pass the surface of the moon. They would go around the moonlight. It was the weirdest thing. Do you know what I'm talking? Have you ever seen that before?
I get it. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a natural thing, but it was just weird. And there was a blue like ring around the moon coming off the moon. Again, I don't know if that's natural, but it's just so strange. But I got a question for you. Something happened to me that's never happened before. You know, when with Ephes and being family, like when this all started, I said, okay, I don't want to be scared. I don't want my family to be scared. I don't want anybody hurt. You know, if that's something that you're good with, then I'm good with it. You know, but I don't want any like darkness or any of that allowed. And Ephes and they would say, don't worry about it. We're not going to allow any other people or beings that are not of that same vibration into your home or around you, period. But the other night, and this has never happened in 2 years, something very odd happened. When I go to bed, everybody's asleep. I'll eat dinner after everyone's asleep in the kitchen. I turn all the lights off. And when I turn the lights off in the house, I can still see in the dark. You know, there's always a little light, and you can see around the house, etc. This night, something very weird happened, and I don't know how to describe it. Well, I do know what they told me, but when I turned the lights off, all of a sudden, it was if somebody put like blinders on my eyes, like, you know, those night things that you sleep with to cover your eyes.
Yeah.
It was everything was pitch black. I could not see. There was darkness beyond more. I don't know what happened. As I opened the door from the kitchen to the living room, it got even darker. And I saw, out of the corner of my eye, I saw some kind of quick figure, darkness, like a shape, like a shadow, move across the side where the big mirror is into the hallway. But it was the darkest black I've never been able to describe. And there was light coming in from the street, and I still couldn't see. Have you ever had an experience like that?
Yeah. I know my cats too.
Well, yeah. I mean, I see quite a few shadows, and there are some that seem to make that room even darker. So yeah, that's definitely a legit phenomenon.
That with you that scared me that night. Because that's not them. That's not them, and no. I didn't know what that was.
No, but that's the thing that you have to remember, and I think any of us have to remember, is that if our consciousness has been opened up to receive information from something other than a living, breathing human being next to us, regardless of its origin, then that same consciousness is opened up to all. It's just a matter of time as to when and where and what is going to come through. So
right.
I am right there with you. I don't believe that was part of the being family that you're dealing with. Could it have been something else, a traveler or a passer through, something from a different dimension, something that used to be living and is now deceased? It could be any one of those things. And I expect to happen.
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was saying I expect it to happen more.
Yeah, it scared me because I haven't been in that scared phase for a good, almost a year now. When this all started, I was scared all the time because I didn't know what was going on. But that scared me a lot. I was like, wait, when I get startled, I'll say, "Oh, are we okay, guys?" And I always hear a voice saying in my head, "Don't worry, everything's fine." Correct. Actually, what they'll say is correct or all is well. Those are the words they use: correct or all is well. That scared me, and I was kind of fumbling my way through the house. And then another thing happened. The next night, I'm sitting in the kitchen, everybody's sleeping, I'm eating, and all of a sudden I get a buzzing in my ear that I can't tell you. It was so loud, and it shook me to my core, and it felt like my entire body was buzzing. It was like somebody turned almost like, I can't describe it. It was the loudest buzzing that reverberated through my body in my right ear. And I don't know what that was. That's never happened before, but it was really scary for 2 days. It was. Have you ever had buzzing or anything like that happen? Like not like a little buzzing, not like a little like ping in your ear, like a tone, but like a loud, like somebody is like in your ear. It was really weird. It was really scary.
It's commonplace among clairaudience to have symptoms like tinnitus, which is the buzzing in the ear. That's not exactly what I'm feeling from you, though. I have to be very honest. Something that you were discussing in the beginning of the program was the wash that no one is allowed to, and the planes and the other aircrafts coming down and then coming back up with something, and the beings letting you know that, hey, yes, something's going on over there. No, you don't need to know about it. That having been said, just like what I just said about how when you're open to one, you tend to be open to all. I believe personally that the more exposure that you have with your being family, however docile it might be, might also open you up to disturbances or communication with the not so docile that might be going on there in your general area. So
I think you're right.
Yeah, that's something you're going to have to be very careful with. And I don't think you can stop it. I think it's something that's going to have to happen, and you might end up finding out more than you ever did care to know. But I don't sense harm.
You want to hear another crazy thing? What happened 2 nights ago?
Yeah.
2 nights ago. Okay, so this has been going on for 2 years, okay? And my neighbors must think I'm a total crazy person because I'll stand in my driveway at night filming and just out there, and for 2 years of me standing in my driveway filming, I'm friendly with all my neighbors. Nobody says anything. Nobody asks me any questions. Okay, so 2 days ago, I'm outside at night, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, after 2 years, I see this young gentleman walking down the street that I've never seen before, probably in his late 20s, early 30s, walking a dog. And I'm like, oh, okay. I know the neighborhood very well because I work out of my house. I know all the cars. I know the people. I know who's here and who's not supposed to be here. This guy I've never seen before, but hey, that's possible. So he's walking down the street. I'm standing in my driveway. It's probably 9:30 at night. Nobody else is there. And he stops right in front of my driveway. He's like, what are you looking at? And I go, I'm looking at the night sky. I'm filming. You know, I try to kind of play it down.
Sure.
He goes, oh, really? He goes, oh, that's interesting. He goes, you know, I just ran into a guy down the street that says that he's filming the night sky, and he's seen all these craft flying around the sky that he's never seen before. This guy just comes out with that. And I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, and then I think, oh, okay, well, you know, I'll open up a little bit. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, you know, I filmed a lot of different stuff. You know, I've seen all these crazy things. I don't get too much conversation. He's like, oh, wow, that's really interesting. Yeah, that guy saying the same thing. Okay, the whole conversation lasts maybe, I don't know, maybe it lasts a minute or two. Guy leaves. I'm like, all right, have a good night. No big deal. Go to bed. No big deal. The following night, which was, I think, a night ago, it's everything's fine. I'm asleep. Everybody's asleep. It's 12:45 at night. I have a car, a Lexus that I have. The alarm doesn't work. The alarm hasn't worked for it's haven't worked for a couple of years. I got to get it fixed. The doors won't lock. It's sort of a car that I use for my wife, and we sort of have trade-offs in some other cars. You know, it's like kind of a road beater car. So that car's sitting in the driveway. The alarm doesn't work. The doors won't lock. You know, that kind of thing. It's 12:45 at night. All of a sudden, I hear, bam, bam, bam. I'm like, I'm startled. I jump out of I'm right there, and I'm right there on the couch, 2 feet away from the front door, 4 feet away from our car parked in the driveway. I jump out of bed. I'm like, what is that sound? And I look out my window, and my car alarm and lights and door are on. The alarm is going, and all the doors on the car are wide open.
Oh, wow.
And I run out there with my shotgun because I was pissed. I was like pissed. I run out there with my shotgun. My wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I'm like in my, my dad is kind of an ass kicker a bit, so I got that part of me still there. So I run out there, and my car has been ransacked. All my stuff is gone. My journals have been stolen, but my computer's there. My valuables are there. All the valuables were not taken, but my car was ransacked. All my information is gone. Like my journals on my stuff is gone, but all the valuables are left.
So now, it obviously wasn't thieves.
What, sorry?
So it obviously wasn't teenagers looking for something that they could sell quick.
No, I think it was very odd that the night before, out of 2 years, that night, some stranger by chance asks me about, what are you looking at in the sky? Oh, by the way, somebody's seeing craft. What are you seeing? Then the following night, my car gets ransacked. My journals holding all my stuff about what's going on are gone. All my personal information gone. Computers are left. Valuables are left. But the bigger thing is, as Ethos and Being family, they woke me up to basically protect me, because how did the alarm go off in the car that's been broken for 2 years?
Jeez.
Right. To me, it almost sounds like he knew what you were out there doing, and he was fishing for a little bit of information by telling you a story. Oh yeah, the guy down the street there is doing it too. That's what it sounds like to me. And I mean, I worked in NSA for a couple of years and supported the spies, so I know a little bit about how they work.
Oh, did you? That is what they told me he was. And I said to them, okay. I've said to Ethos for 2 years, I said to Ethos, because I have helicopters flying around my house every day, probably like maybe 4 or 5 helicopters all the time, but they never get super close. They're always doing passes. Now, maybe it's cops, maybe it's normal, but about 2 weeks ago, I did have, during the day, a big, like, heavy helicopter literally hover over my house, and it freaked me out, and then that happened. So I asked them, I said, what is going on? I said, and they said, look, Christopher, we've asked them not to bother you. I know that sounds crazy, but that was what that was. Does that sound like what that could have been?
It does sound very similar. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I know this is sounds like conspiracy theory 101, but I'm telling you, this is happening.
No, I totally understand it. And yeah, a lot of people will kind of, pawn it off as you're just being, a conspiracy theorist. But a lot of that conspiracy theorist stuff is legit, and they make everybody involved with it sound crazy, so that they can, go ahead, talk about it all you want. You're just going to sound crazy, but and that's how they get away with it.
It was really scary for me, because it really was the first time that I got scared for my family and me. I don't care so much about me. I mean, I don't want to get hurt, obviously, but I got a little scared for us, because it was violent in a way. It was kind of violent. It's kind of an intrusion.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, and so that's what people do at the end. That's like a fishing technique to basically get you to open up to start spilling your beans, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. They're fishing for information, doing a little social engineering there, and the fact that they grabbed your journals, they're looking. I'm surprised they didn't take the computer, because a lot of people journal on the laptop too. But grabbing the journals, they're looking to see what you've noted and what kind of information you've recorded in there.
When this, I think you're right. When this all started 2 years ago, this only happened one night. When it was first starting, like the first couple of months, I mean, it was gnarly craft and like craziness. And then one night, this black helicopter flew in, and I swear to God, I thought it was a UFO, because it was so black and so silent and so like bizarre. I've never seen a helicopter. It got literally below the power lines in the middle of our street, and I ran into the middle of the street to look at it. And that was the one time that I had seen that kind of quote unquote mysterious black helicopter. But they were there, definitely there. But I haven't seen a lot of that since. So I don't know. I always I would say to Ethos and family, like, we're having so much contact. Where's all the men in black? Where's this? And then that happened this couple nights. So I don't know if that was that or what it was or how much more will happen, but it definitely happened and was scary. And just, I don't know. I'm just trying to have faith about all this stuff, because it can be some kind of unnerving. You know what I mean?
It's a total invasion of privacy, and there's a number of people down in chat that are remarking that the alarms probably scared him away before he had a chance to grab the laptop. So, and
I think you guys are right.
Fran Molino saying government scares me more than aliens. Yeah, they do.
True story. True story.
Yeah. I mean, what I found to be incredibly, which is one of the beautiful and loving, was that they did that, because there's no way that alarm could have gone off because it was broken. It won't work for me. That they literally did that to take care of. That just shows who they are. They're really amazing. And I'm not saying all extraterrestrials are that way. I'm saying they are. And this group is. So anyways, I digress. But yeah, it was crazy. It was really crazy. Really crazy.
Well, what I love about this is how you explain them, because it's just like with the paranormal, just like with UFOs or extraterrestrials, we have to take out of our minds what we've been programmed to believe they are. That is of the utmost importance when it comes to talking about something that is interdimensional, or that is unidentified, or that is deceased and is sitting right here talking to me. I have to take out of my mind, or I had to in the beginning, what I was told those are. So when you say extraterrestrial, I don't think of ET. I don't think of little green men. I actually don't put an image in my head at all. And that's kind of what I want people to do. And I think what you're trying to do is put the message out there, not the look. Does that make sense?
That's right. That you're more right than you maybe even know, or you probably already know. But I had to go through that too. It's like we have been led down a path to think things about this, about life, about what's real, what's possible, what's not, what we have as gifts as human beings, what we don't have. And it's been this box that we've been put in, and it's been scripted, I believe. I mean, because everything that I ever thought about this experience, but prior to having it, was 180 degrees different. Everything about what I thought was even possible that a person could experience. I mean, so yeah, I think you have to absolutely go in with a total clean slate and an open mind at 100%.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more.
I agree. Question from Tom McNicholas down in the chat. So are you afraid at this point of the government seeking you out?
It's a good question. My wife and my mom. My mom's coming on a little bit, but it's still.
I was going to ask you about her because I know she gave you kind of a hard time at the beginning, is what you told us in the last show. Yeah. I actually, a couple days ago, went on a walk with her, and we had a really amazing talk. I think when I went to go see David, our Chinese medicine doctor, which is her best friend, but also somebody that she goes to see that she respects. When I went to go see David and gave him a healing session, we actually had a real thing happen. And then he told her, I think that gave me a lot of, in her mind, because she was really scared that I was just cracking up, that I was totally making stuff up, or that I was on drugs or whatever. So I think that really helped a lot. So she's coming around. We had a really great talk after the walk, and I sort of gave her a little bit of an update because she really doesn't know anything. And so she kind of is coming around. My wife is still really kind of resistant, and I totally understand. So the question in the audience is, this whole thing has been so, I don't even know how to put it into words, just life-changing, scary, amazing, beautiful, and there have been many moments that I've been so scared and so terrified, not from them, but from my own misunderstanding of what they are, what is possible, what can happen, it does happen. It's just been a kind of a whole thing. So I try not to think that much about it, because if I really sat back and really kind of like said, oh my God, this is really happening, and really, which I do, but if I kind of open that consciousness up to what's possible, yeah, I think that I would have some sleepless nights. But they're teaching me a lot about faith, because that's a big part of their teachings, is faith and love and compassion and protection and care and all of these beautiful things. And so I have a lot of faith in them, and in God, not in a religious way, but in greater forces looking out for us, that can do amazing things. And that goes for spirit world and all of it. So I have faith that things are going to be okay and continue to be okay. But I do say all the time to myself, I'm having so much interaction with them. It's nuts. When's the other shoe going to drop? So I don't know. It may never, but I definitely sometimes think about it. All right.
I hope that answers the question.
I think so. It does. We are actually a little bit past our hour mark, so unfortunately we're going to have to wrap it up. Absolutely.
I'd love to. I hope it was interesting for people. I really, it's so hard to get it all in there, because so much is going on, and I just hope it was interesting for everybody to listen to.
Oh yeah, it was definitely interesting. Yep. So
now you're like, he's crazy. He's a crazy person.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No.
You're among like minds here, so you're all good.
No, I know.
I wanted to say thank you, Christopher, before, because I know we're going to have to get off of here. Thank you so much for the encouraging words about my book. I truly appreciate that, and I didn't get a chance to tell you earlier.
It's a great book. Everybody should buy it. It's a really great book and scary. There's some scary things in there, but wonderful. It's wonderful. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you again, guys, for having me on the show. You guys are doing a great job. You're great artists. You're great business people. It's a great show. I really love it, and I value it so much. So thank you for having me on again.
Thank you.
Absolutely welcome. Thank you so much for coming back. Yeah, definitely a pleasure.
Cool.
So, all right. Real quick, I know we already went through the YouTube thing earlier where people could find you, but you also have a website as well, right?
Yeah. People can email me at elementalhealing@yahoo.com. Elementals with 2 L's, so ELL, elemental healing at Yahoo. Or you can even call me if anybody wants to do like a healing session or ask questions or do a phone, whatever. I do that now too. So it's 818-918-8704. 818-918-8704. And so basically I can help people connect, through EFIS and them to ask questions to like spirit or them or, whatever. And the healing sessions are amazing. I mean, they're really amazing things. So I'm there if anybody wants to try it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Christopher. Absolutely appreciate it.
All right, you guys have a great night.
All right. Take care. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
All right, an absolutely great episode with Christopher Peters. Definitely appreciate him. For those that may not have caught it from the first show, if you didn't watch before. So when he was talking about his mom, he was talking about actress Lesley Ann Warren. His father is producer Jon Peters. So he's like, big time enmeshed with Hollywood, of course, and his
down to earth.
And he is, and his stepmother's Barbara Streisand, so he's like very, very down to earth. You'd never think of that, given the pedigree, but yeah, he really is.
He's just a lovely person.
He is, really is. So let's go ahead and get to the shout outs, guys. Just to let you know, there is no Inside the Upside Down tonight. Shauna's been sick here the past few days, and then I had that event this past weekend, and on the way back the car got wrecked, so I wasn't in the right mind to put a show together, and I saw some people reference it back there. The car's sitting right there. It's a mess.
Don't look at it.
I've had to look at it the entire time because the camera's there, the car is there. I'm looking at it the whole time, and I love that car. But I'm okay. It's just the 317,137 miles.
I still can't believe that.
You notice all the 1s, the 3s, and the 7s.
True story.
Yeah, really interesting. So what I am going to do to make up for the loss of Inside the Upside Down tonight is directly after this, I'll go live for a few minutes on my Facebook page, and I don't know, we'll chat about whatever. We'll just pick a topic and go with it or something. All right, so shout outs, let's see. And I'm sorry that we didn't get into all the questions, but we didn't. Sorry. So Super Chat Superstar, $10 from Tom McNicholas since he won in the casino in Iowa. Thank you very much, Tom, for the Super Chat. Super Chat Superstar. All right. He actually got on the back of the shirt. So on Spread shirt, he added like all the logos to one shirt. I didn't know you could do that, but you could add all the different designs to the shirt, which he did. He put them on the front, and then on the back, you can add text to the back of the shirt. He put Super Chat Superstar Tom.
That is awesome.
That's hilarious.
I want a T-shirt that says "Educate, Entertain, Empower." #Rebel Witch.
Okay, just text that to me or something so I don't forget.
Yeah.
Okay. So shout outs. Okay. So Shauna, thank you very much for shenanigating the chat, hanging in there the whole time since you haven't been feeling well, my love. Donna, thank you for helping out down there. Donna Gorton. All right. So let's get to the participants tab. Let's see. We have Beat 3 Airspace. Thank you very much for joining us again this evening. Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons includes Beat 3 Airspace and Tom McNicholas, Zippy Davis, BD Flint, Pamela Queen, Joe Chandler, Andrew Cox, Dustin Samario, and Trucker David Y. Here we go. Thank you all very much for that. There's Candy Oren. Hey, Candy, good to see you. There's Carrie Parrish. Good to see Carrie in the house again.
Hi, Carrie.
Yeah. Chris Numador, thanks for joining us. There's Discord threads. Hey, Discord, good to see you. Ellie Lay and EQ, thank you both very much. There's Fran Molino. Thank you, as always, for all your retweeting that you do out there on Twitter. There's Katie Palmer. Hey, Katie. Real Paranormal Activity, the podcast. Hey, great to see you down there tonight. There's Robert Hanna and Sean Gilmore. Thank you both for all the questions. I'm sorry we didn't get to all of them this evening. Tammy Heitzman, thanks for joining us again tonight. And there's Tim Schoen. Thank you as well. And let me slide over here and see who we may have missed. So, I don't know. That might actually be it for tonight. So, yeah, thank you guys very much for hanging out with us this evening. Christopher's a fantastic guest. The first show that we had him on, there were all kinds of technical difficulties, like the first half hour, 40 minutes of the show or whatever it was, and it was kind of crazy. This one went really well, which is great. So, all right. All right, everybody. For those of you that are on my Facebook, well, and if you're not on the Facebook, go find it because I'm going to go live from there here in just a couple minutes directly after the show. So, okay. I think that's it. Vanessa? Oh. All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
What a terrible send-off. Oh, yeah, bye.
You didn't like me blowing kisses?
I didn't see it because I was looking at the chat screen, which is delayed from our feed. So I didn't see it. I'm like, what's going on?
That's okay.
And then I saw it. Yeah.
There for one portion, when you were talking, I was doing this.
Oh, jeez. We're way down the rabbit. We're way down the rabbit hole. Oh, and I do want to say thank you guys very much who have been listening to the Rabbit Palette. Yeah, we're still on. We're still on. Yeah, we've been live this whole time. What are you thinking? Check out the Edge of the Rabbit Hole podcast. We are not only just uploading this as an audio, but we also have a new audio feature, the Rabbit Pellets. On Mondays, it'll be available Monday morning whenever you wake up because I upload it Sunday night. So any of our podcast platforms, so that would be like Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn. We're on Google and Anchor, so all those, and then there's also the Mike Ricksecker Audio Journey podcast where the Inside the Upside Down episodes go, but then I've always been throwing in extra stuff on that. So go get those audio broadcasts too. So now that'll do it.
Yeah.
Join me over on Facebook for a few minutes, and the rest have a great night. Till next time.